listening to your brain on air. The program will begin shortly. Enjoy.
Estão a ouvir o vosso cérebro no ar. O programa começará em breve. Aproveitando.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Your Brain on Air. I am your host, Ollie Vogt Larson. Voters across Michigan today are heading to the polls. So, they're deciding one of the most contentious, high-stakes primaries of election season. If you have not been keeping up, I don't blame you, but they're deciding the Democratic nominee for the state's open U.S. Senate seat. And Democratic Senator currently, Gary Peters, is retiring at the end of his term. So, this is a very, very public, high-profile battleground for the party's future. We are pitting moderate is a bad word for this, establishment figures against the new progressive leaders that are, in the sense where progressive nowadays means socialism. It means redefining what the Senate means, sometimes abolishing the Senate as is. Spread it open and flick the bean, because we got Joanne Prada, the pussy queen over here, representing the moderate wing, four-term Congresswoman Haley Stevens, who has highlighted her record of winning competitive districts near Detroit, backed by party leaders including Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Stevens has campaigned on economic development and pragmatic manufacturing policies. Her campaign has also drawn significant support from outside groups, including tens of millions of dollars in advertising from pro-Israel political action committees. Interesting. Challenging her from the left is Dr. Abdul El Sayed, a physician and a former Wayne County health director running on a populist platform. He is endorsed by Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Well, that means essentially, this is a translation for all of you, that means that a lot of his support is online. It's very vocal people with a lot of comment section fillers and all those sorts of things, but otherwise, when it comes to when you actually pitch a lot of the models to these people, like single payer systems, well, how are we going to fund a lot of that? Does it work on a small scale even? Well, not really, because we look at situations like Vermont, as a matter of fact, where Bernie Sanders is from, where they attempted single payer systems, and it failed tremendously, as many people are unaware of it. And El Sayed, he's championing single-payer healthcare through Medicare for all. He's also aggressively campaigning for finance reform and an end to foreign military assistance to Israel. By the way, many people are going to try to pull this on you where, I don't call for the Israel thing, but I love the idea of Sharia law. Like, they're going to try to, I don't love that we're sending money to go kill Palestinians. It's not because I care terribly about human rights, it's because I'm Arab. That's actually there's a lot of with politics, it's a magic trick. It's like, here's what I'm telling you that I really deeply care about. In reality, it's that I have deep and undying loyalties to what I believe is eventually going to be the true purpose that I've been sent here to fulfill. Many of these people, they're religious, and if you don't believe me, it's a lot of these religious people that are saying I'm an American, but I'm a Christian first, or I'm an American, but I'm a Jew first. I'm an American, but I'm a Muslim first. These people do not have undying loyalties to nation. These people have undying loyalties to someone that they believe they commune with every night when they go to bed. These people are crazy. That's fine. It's a definite, everybody's a little bit crazy. There's not really crazy is not even really a good thing to call these people. These people are mental. Their mental faculties have failed them, and it's not their fault necessarily. It's a lot of the times their parents have raised them into this faith. Whatever way you got into it, it doesn't really matter, because you are ultimately serving things that they're beyond you. You are not serving a moral code that you formulated throughout years of personal experience or through knowledge. If you're formulating it through something that someone has handed to you, that's okay. It's how a lot of people get their ideologies. The winner of today's Democratic primary will move on to face the former Republican Congressman Mike Rogers in the general election. Rogers, who ran unopposed for the Republican nomination, narrowly missed capturing Michigan's other Senate seat 2 years ago. With poll closures fast approaching, a lot of people are eager. Who do I vote for? They don't know. And I would love to provide to you a few clips or a few pieces of information about each of the candidates. And I want to break them down one by one. I'm not going to start with the Muslim, because that's way too typical on this show. So we're going to start with the Senate candidate, Haley Stevens. Here is one of my favorite clips that I've been able to drudge up from her, and it was just at a general speaking conference, one where I think that she just wanted to get across a couple of her really key things in her mind that are going to be a big part of her policy.
And in the United States Congress, I will continue to fight for the people of Israel. I will continue to fight
Well,
I love you all so very much. Happy Hanukkah.
happy Hanukkah, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Haley Stevens, she is ramping up for the campaign with a little bit of stick it to 'em energy, in her words. Let's play another one of her famous clips.
I am going to be working on our behalf. I am going to be telling the stories on our behalf. And you better believe I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of stick it to 'em. Because that's the Michigan way.
Michigan way. Ladies and gentlemen, she's fun. She's got a real Matt Foley energy, a motivational speaker kind of. I really, what sucks about being somebody who is left or leaning or having ideas that you want to push forward that are left or leaning is that you have no good option right now. You have to choose nowadays because a lot of people believe that they have to go in two very radical directions. We either have to stick with the dogma, we have to stick with what the party's used to, we have to be signing bombs that we're going to be sending to Israel here in a few years, we have to campaign, we have to fight righteously for people that live around the globe, literally. Or you have to vote for somebody who is putting forth ideas for campaign finance reform, which is, fine but not enough. An idea of ending military assistance to Israel, that's great. But then he's someone who champions single-payer healthcare. Well, I don't love that. I don't love somebody who's not the best or most well-informed on their own policy. They have not... Anyone who champions single-payer systems does not understand why those systems work in the countries they've been debuted in. They don't understand the actual... Listen, let's talk about if you want to talk about racial hegemony, if you want to talk about the statistics of why these people, they have a lot of trust in their communities, then if you want to talk about immigration issues, you can, and a lot of people will they'll eek at that question a little bit, even though it's evidently not a harmful thing to talk about, how immigrants and the amount of them that you may or may not be letting in illegally or legally so might be affecting the way that your system runs, might be affecting how many people are drawing off the system, might be affecting... listen, there are a lot of concerns everywhere in this, and unfortunately, a lot of the people that advocate for the single-payer system, much like El Sayed, are people that I also believe would take us in further left directions beyond that. The Democratic Socialists of America have had a decent time this year of getting their candidates past the primary season, unfortunately. And the things they talk about wanting to accomplish behind closed doors are not that appealing to me.
The Democratic Socialists of America are very excited about their early wins in Democratic House primaries. So I came to the DSA's summit in Chicago to get a sense of their goals and hopes and aspirations and debates. They are feeling a lot of momentum right now. There's a sense that voters are fed up with the mainstream Democratic Party and are starting to embrace socialism more and more. So here's some of the tables with different merch. Some parts of the DSA's new platform are things that many Americans may agree on. Things like free childcare and health care for all, helping the working class. These are Democratic priorities as well. Others may feel outside the mainstream of politics. Items like abolishing the Senate, which they don't feel is a fair and representative institution.
If you want to radically transform the economy into something where you can actually afford to live, then we're going to have to get rid of some of these anti-democratic barriers that our Constitution has set up. The Senate is one of them.
And taking steps toward abolishing police and prisons.
Mass incarceration is a crime against humanity. We think that should be quite radically changed.
The DSA is also advocating for...
If there's a lot of people out there that are saying we need to adopt the policy around prisons where it's more of identified around reform, that people want to go maybe you should offer them job programs, you should offer them things to better their education or whatever, things to... Sure, we can talk about programs, we can talk about anything like that. You also need a system where, you lock people away. You do need, unfortunately, a system where people that provide threats to your society are going to be sequestered. They're going to be held in, and not able to leave. You're going to need that for some of these people, especially the people that choose to act the way that, unfortunately, a lot of people do when you have something like freedom. You have something like, you can go out there and just kind of do whatever you'd like. Real life life is a little bit GTA. And there's a lot of people on the online servers of GTA. They don't want to go out and get a job. They want to go out and they want to steal something. And there are some people that you need to sequester away. Some people that you need to bottle up, put on a shelf. We don't think about them every few years. You know what I mean? We don't think about them until we hear about maybe like a news story where, oh, there's no AC in prisons, so we're basically slow cooking a lot of these people. Sure, maybe get some AC units in there. But, you know, also maybe some people do belong in prison for long extended periods of time.
Change. The DSA is also advocating for a state of Palestine that includes Jerusalem as its capital.
Not going to happen.
The co-chairs of the national DSA movement enthusiastically affirmed all of these positions that DSA has.
Abolish ICE. Absolutely. Defund the Pentagon. Absolutely.
There are many establishment Democrats who are terrified that voters are going to be turned off by some of the ideas that DSA has endorsed. They're worried that all Democrats potentially could be painted with a socialist label, an extreme far-left label that will cause Republicans to win in November in the midterms. But there's a pretty strong sense from people here that they shouldn't back down and that eventually those ideas will be broadly popular with a full electorate.
It's you know, it's a get together. It's a gaggle of folks, and I'm happy they have their unit of people that they are comfortable with. But unfortunately for them, they're going to lose the next election greatly. They're going to, unfortunately, because I don't know exactly how November is going to go. If I had to assume, they're going to win back one of the houses, in the sense of like maybe it's the House, maybe it's the Senate, but it will be a Democratic win for one of them. The Republicans will continue to hold, obviously, the president and another chamber, and I think that it's going to be a testing period. I think it's going to be a time for there's going to be so much popping off. There's going to be a lot of new Democrats that are just fresh into the House, and they want to make their name. They want to get attention. They want to, you know, have some Josh Hawley moments where they really press to somebody and they're like, "Ooh, yeah, this is you have to answer the question, otherwise you look really guilty," and whatnot. That they're going to have a lot of those moments, especially with the next 2 years of Trump. There's going to be so much grandstanding. There's going to be a lot of performing. There's going to be a lot of these people trying to convince you that they're not in it to service the people who got them into office. That's really what a lot of these people. We're sending a new unit of criminals to the House of Criminals. That's what we're dealing with, regrettably. Unfortunately, the reason that you cannot expect any of these people to be people of character is because they're the types to seek out power in the first place. Do you get it? I think you do. I think you intuitively, I do not have to explain this to anybody. They just understand. The ones who will seek out power, the ones who have been prepping their lives for it, essentially, for their they've been ready. They grew up knowing, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be a congressman, I'm going to be a senator, I'm going to be somebody with real power, and people are going to remember my name. I'm going to be a representative for whatever region I'm from. Those types of people are the ones that mental health facilities were made for. These people, if they didn't get this job, you have to realize they'd be throwing themselves out of a 2-story window. It's not the tallest building in town, but they need anything that can break their neck. Like, these people live only so that they can feel a fraction of power above you. They live only to service the idea that they are fulfilling an image that they've had in their mind since childhood of me, people like me, people think of me as somebody with, like, I can fix their problems by going to Washington. I can talk to the Wizard of Oz, and then they will have a new heart or something like that. But in reality, the woman in your district who needed a heart operation is likely going to die. She's likely going to die because she chose to drink soda her whole life, and everybody's going to whine and bitch. They're going to be like, well, Coca-Cola should stop making it taste so good. I love that, by the way. A lot of people go, they design food products to make them addictive. You're the one who buys them in the first place. Unfortunately, if you want to be honest with yourself, if you want to get honest about reality in the world around us, it's very much the crack cocaine in black neighborhoods effect. It's like, well, nobody put a gun to your head and made you take the drugs, but then you did, because unfortunately you liked them. That's a reality. That's a check yourself before you wreck yourself moment that I think a lot of us need to get real about. Let's talk about, okay, so there's the Israel issue. There is the idea that this woman is out there servicing people that behind her that have sent her a lot lot of money ahead of the 2026 primary on Tuesday. They sat down with this woman, the Democratic Senate candidate Haley Stevens, who discussed her vision for the Democratic Party and outside spending in her campaign. She also defended more than $60 million in PAC spending supporting her campaign. Yikes, that's going to be rough. That's rough.
If you win and the Democratic Party gets behind you, who belongs in that party and who doesn't?
Well, look, I'd say that this is a Michigan moment, and anybody who wants to stand up to the chaos and the abuses of power, you know, there's a lot of chatter, I know that, and I am very eager to say that this is about the future of my state. And anyone who's on board with the future of Michigan and our manufacturing economy and stopping members of Congress and presidents and vice presidents from trading stocks while in office, of, you know, ushering in kind of a new generation of prosperity for folks, standing up to RFK Jr., leading from a science-first agenda. That's what I have done in the Congress. That's what I'm going to do as Michigan's next U.S. Senator. And I think I'm the proven fighter who's meeting the moment. Look, I might be the underdog in this race. That's okay with me. I decided to get uncomfortable, and I'll tell you why. A fully paralyzed veteran last year asked me if he was still going to get his benefit check because he saw Elon Musk swinging the chainsaw around and cutting through, you know, our agencies of government. That is not acceptable. Tax dollars need to work for the taxpayers, or they need to be returned to the taxpayers.
You saw these protesters outside concerned about the fact that more than $60 million in PAC money has been spent on your behalf by pro-Israel groups, by other corporate groups.
Yeah, by Democrats. By Democrats. Look, this is the same way, you know, Gary Peters, Senator Stabenow, and other tough Democrats have won. Every single poll shows I'm the best one to go beat Mike Rogers. People aren't, you know, messing around here. We've had an engaged, exciting primary process. Everyone's going to be able to have...
All right, let's not address the PAC money. I get it. You don't want to talk about the PAC money. You should talk about something that is going to make you sound remotely appealing, because right now I don't get anything from you other than a teacher's aide. You're grating on the ears. You're weird, kind of like always jutting a lower lip that you have. She looks like this woman. I know that crack isn't big, or like the cocaine, it's not as big as it used to be. She's got these moments on TV. I watch her, and her lower jaw, like a crick side to side and whatnot. She's, I don't think that she's this, you know, this yuppie who's sitting there doing coke like it's the 80s. I don't think that's really what's going on here, but I think she's got like a disorder or something. She can't stop herself physically from moving. It's disturbing.
It's a big day for politics across the country. Primaries are being held in Kansas, Michigan, Missouri, Virginia, and Washington State. One possible bellwether for November is the Michigan Senate race. Two very different Democrats are competing to be their party's nominee. Ed O'Keefe is in Grand Rapids with a lot more on this. Ed, good morning.
Vlad, very good to see you. We have our eyes on this state today because this is not just about Democrats holding on to a key Senate seat. It's also about defining what it means to be a Democrat in a key presidential battleground.
This is a Michigan moment.
A Michigan moment and a critical moment for the Democratic Party as Congresswoman Haley Stevens and former public health official Abdul El-Sayed face off, both running as a next-generation alternative. Stevens has served 3 terms in the House as a moderate.
I'm a tough-as-nails Democrat, you know, who's campaigning with a whole heck of a lot of grit.
You're tough as nails on the ears.
Inspiration. You can't buy people deciding to be a part of something.
El-Sayed says he isn't a socialist, but he is endorsed by Senator Bernie Sanders and other progressive leaders.
We're trying to define a viewpoint that's built on money out of politics, money in your pocket, Medicare for all.
The winner would face former Republican Congressman Mike Rogers in a battleground.
Am I like hoping Mike Rogers wins? Oddly enough, I'm kind of hoping Mike Rogers wins.
State President Trump narrowly won in 2016 and 2024.
Who I'm really voting for is Mike Rogers, because I think he's going to be a great senator.
I don't know anything about him. I just thoroughly dislike Representative Haley Stevens because she herself gives me like an icky feeling in my soul I can't describe. Abdul El-Sayed, I mean, yeah, he's Arab, but let me look up if he's like devout, and that will make me for sure say no, because I don't like anybody regardless of your religion. I believe that you're devout to child raping. That's what most people don't realize, that's what their church, every church bleeds up to that. It bleeds up up to men in robes raping kids. And that's Catholics, it's the Protestants, it's the Jews, it's the Muslims, it's the Hindus. Everything eventually gets back to little rooms of men either with big beards or with like shaved heads, but just molesting the shit out of kids. That's what every religion ultimately boils up to, regrettably.
Because I think he's going to be a great senator.
Recent polls give El Sayed an edge over Stevens, as voters say they're worried about the cost of living.
Abdul El Sayed, he's a practicing Muslim whose Islamic faith and Egyptian-American heritage shape his personal life and progressive political platform. That's not very Islamic of him to have a progressive political platform. He must not be very devout, but anybody who, I'm a Muslim, yeah, get the fuck away from me, all right?
We didn't need to be in, and we could help out our own, people.
And about winning.
Well, my biggest concern is that we take back the House and the Senate.
Relations with Israel are a key factor in this race. Stevens supports continuing military aid to Israel. She's backed by the pro-Israel group AIPAC, which has spent tens of millions of dollars in support of her.
$30 million.
I want a two-state solution. I want long-term peace. My opponent, Abdul, he equivocates. He will not recognize Israel's right to exist as a state.
I don't think any place has a right to exist. Nothing has a right to exist. You have the ability to exist if you so are able to. That's like if you have a military big enough, if you're able to establish yourself. Congrats, you're a country. That's exactly what we have going on in Syria right now. It's exactly what we have going on in Afghanistan. It's like, oh shit, I guess the Taliban are the government now. I mean, didn't we spend the last 20 years trying to stop that from happening? Whatever. We negotiate with them. We'll figure something out.
Says he wants to end U.S. military support to Israel, reflecting the view of a majority of registered Democrats in a recent poll.
But our job is not then to go subsidize a military that is conducting genocide.
So progressive Democrats like El Sayed have won House primaries this year in big blue cities like New York City and Denver, but a win for him here in Michigan would be arguably the biggest win so far.
That'd be wretched, because in all honesty, he's been supported by a Muslim nonprofit that has gotten a terrorism label in Florida and Texas. He's attacked his opponent a lot for benefiting millions of dollars in PAC spending. He did not respond when asked about the nearly $5 million in outside spending that is supporting his own campaign. That's fine. He doesn't have to answer those questions, ladies and gentlemen, because he's a Muslim, so he's held to different standards because he's brown or something like that. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what you have to say. I don't like Catholics. I don't like Muslims. I don't like Jews. I hate the religion itself. I don't have an issue with the person. I think that they have been devoutly, unfortunately, brainwashed. It's like hating an iPhone. You know what I mean? Do I hate the phone itself for the program that it has been installed on it? No, I hate Apple iOS. I strongly dislike the Apple iOS, but the iPhone, it didn't do anything. It just had that shit programmed into it, probably when it was young, probably got MK Ultra mind controlled into it, and probably, it had a couple things happen to it as an altar boy that it doesn't want to talk about, but, that's exactly what most of these people find themselves into. I hate the religions. I cannot stand it. I cannot stand Catholicism or Islam as religions. I have nothing against the people individually. I think they're goofy, especially if they're like, oh my god, FouseyTube, when he had that moment with the interviewer where the person mocked the Prophet Muhammad. He was like, oh yeah, Muhammad, the fake prophet. The guy smacked his microphone like he was fucking tough. Muhammad, the child molester. Many people are still devout. People are still ready and willing to defend his name. That's perfectly fine. They're goat fuckers. That's okay. That's fine by me. Their culture has a lot to be proud of, ladies and gentlemen. Same with the Vatican. You know what I mean? A grand culture with a lot to be proud of. Ladies and gentlemen, the GOP representative that was accused of spraying his wife with hot water has now been caught admitting to it, apparently. Miller's ex-wife alleges that he threw scalding hot water on her from a pan and then sprayed her with a kitchen sink hose. She also alleges that he had a gun to her head, shoved her to a wall, and fractured their daughter's collarbone. So, let's hear a little bit of this audio recording we got with him and his wife, I believe, talking.
It never was done to hurt you, and you know that. You were weaponizing this
No,
because of my previous allegation.
And if you knew it was because you went into my room when I was crying.
So
and
Emily,
you started crying.
Emily,
I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to hurt you. Why are you scared of me? Why are you scared?
Yeah, I didn't mean to hurt you. It wasn't done with intent. You just said it yourself.
Wait a minute. Abuse? Wait. Abuse only matters if you do it with intent? I've never heard that explanation before. That's a guess.
You literally just said it yourself. It wasn't done to hurt you. And I told you before that not to come over to me and start screwing around with me.
I wasn't trying to screw around with you.
Emily,
I was trying to give you a
you're taking a playful incident and
it's
making
not
something
playful,
nefarious.
It's not playful. You need hot water.
Emily, going out of the faucet, it does not get to a temperature of boiling water. It does not.
Put it on when you get home, Max, and see if you can get it.
I did it, and I tested it, and I had our attorneys test it because I figured that this is what you were going to come at me with.
Oh, smart.
No, literally, it's like standing under a hot shower, and we already have someone to go ahead and combat this if this is what you're going to do.
Wow, this guy, listen, you gotta give him this. If he's an abuser, he's a good one. Like, he's really, really good at it. He's like, nope, actually, I have my attorneys test it. The water doesn't come out at a scalding temperature. Damn, he is on point. I kind of want him to win. That's odd. Like, good for him. Like, if he pulls out something where he is able to go, well, actually, no. If he actually knows his way out of this entire situation and manages to still stay in this race and win, you almost have to admit, like, most of these people that are already serving in Congress have done things righteously worse. Oh, he broke his daughter's collarbone. Most of these people killed their firstborn child to get that seat that they got in the first place. Where do you think Michelle and Obama's firstborn went? Where do you think Obama Jr. went? Exactly, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? I don't know what else to say about this. We're going to move on to our next story about 3 Minnesota law enforcement agencies reporting tampering with the flock cameras. Okay, so law enforcement agencies, they have adopted flock cameras everywhere across Minnesota, and they're investigating a wave of vandalism and theft targeting automated license plate reading cameras. So, they're commonly known as flock safety cameras. Police departments in multiple jurisdictions, including Faribault, yes, Winona, and Duluth, have reported the solar-powered devices being cut down, damaged, or stolen entirely from roadside poles over recent weeks. You know, I'm not one to, I mean, I am clapping a little bit, but what I'm saying is that, like, this is a crime. I'm not encouraging crime. I think crime is, it's criminal. It's evil. You shouldn't be doing it. But the individuals who have liberated their cities from the constant, the Eye of Sauron type surveillance that these, companies do inflict on people, I won't say that they're Robin Hood figures. I will not say that they are, people enacting the will of the populace around them. I won't say that they are angels sent in disguise. I won't say anything like that because that would be something not to be said if I wanted to be careful. In Winona, officials have confirmed that all 8 of the city's installed flock cameras were cut down and removed. That is legit. It's leaving investigators working to identify the suspects. The attacks are showing how, like, a lot of people are very upset about the automated license plate tracking technology. A lot of people are worried about the continually scanning of passing traffic to alert officers about stolen vehicles. Most of the time, they're wrong, by the way. Missing persons, which they never catch, by the way. If a person's really missing, they can find them if they want. But most of the time, they let these people disappear or, like, go off and get BTK killered or something. To cars connected with active warrants, all those sorts of things. They're claiming all these flock cameras are to benefit you. Don't you want, like, you're not hiding anything. You're not committing any crimes. You're not doing anything, right? Why wouldn't you want my eye on you 24/7? Okay, police departments credit the real-time surveillance network with providing vital leads to criminal investigations, civil liberty advocates, allowing us to stalk women that we really like, and privacy campaigners have routinely criticized the system over concerns surrounding bulk data collection and federal access. Local authorities emphasize that tampering with municipal surveillance equipment carries serious legal consequences. So, make sure that you dress in all black, or make sure that you, really, really cover up your features. Do not drive near it, with your car or anything like that. As a matter of fact, you should walk to the location in order to make sure that it only catches a black figure coming out of nowhere. They're not able to, maybe they're able to track you, but make sure that you walk in circles, you walk around, you throw them off in order to make sure that they're not able to. I'm not offering advice. I'm not, telling anybody how they would be able to do this, but you wouldn't want, if you were one of these people, one of the smartest first things that these people would be doing is they would be covering their faces entirely, not showing their eyes even, because even those can be used to trace back to you. Wearing shoe inserts of some variety in order to change your height so that they're unable to get an accurate read as to how tall you are. Like, all of these little things that you would be able to do in order to make sure that these flock cameras go down as efficiently and as safely for you as possible. Local authorities are emphasizing that, like, if you do this, we're going to arrest you. In Faribault, prosecutors recently filed felony charges against a 42-year-old man accused of cutting down a camera pole and attempting to dismantle the device inside a local shop. So don't take it to anywhere that you're familiar with. If you cut one of these down, dispose of it in a river, somewhere fun. Like, literally do something fun with it if you want. Burn it, like, across in somebody's front yard. Like, just, maybe not some rando's front yard, but, like, you know, anybody's front yard would be fun. And, you know, maybe not a front yard, actually, because then you might be pinning it on them accidentally. Maybe just a flaming pole with a flock camera in the middle of a park somewhere. That could be a fun one. Like, you drench it in gasoline, just light it up. You know, it's maybe not during fire season. But, like, I don't know, just, like, something fun. Make something fun, like a serial killer who strings the entrails of their latest victim across a couple of trees. Like, okay, police agencies say that they're working directly with Flock Safety to replace the destroyed units, upgrade mounting security, and review nearby video footage to prevent further destruction of public property. I think that a lot of people, they're going up to these cameras, they're just like climbing them like monkeys and moving back and forth and trying to bring them off like that. Hacksaws also would be very effective at, like, you have to get the pole down. The pole is the primary issue, and if you cannot cut these devices down, there is spray paint, there is other types of devices that would be used to cover it, to shoal it. Some people are wrapping them up in duct tape or flex tape. That's another really fun one, because flex tape, once it's on, it holds on tight. I'm not offering any advice. This is a satirical show, and we're just joking because this is we talk about the local matters. We talk about what's happening in the latest. So guess what? Everything I'm talking about is protected speech, bitch.
Law enforcement considers this technology to be an important extra set of eyes. Now, someone has blinded their vision.
Good.
Tonight, we're learning
Oh, wait. It's just weird.
All 8 of the city's license plate reading cameras. Each camera costs about $3,000. I mean, the city's out about $24,000.
Maybe don't spend it again.
Ali joins us with a growing fight over flock cameras. Uba?
Technology recently came
Uba Ali, ladies and gentlemen.
under criticism because of concerns about privacy and their possible use in immigration enforcement. Now, frustration is showing up on the very poles they're mounted on. It's a tool many Minnesota cities have embraced. Flock cameras capturing license plates and recording vehicle information. Police say it helps solve crime.
200 pounds of methamphetamine seized in 2026. Missing and endangered juvenile in 2026.
Critics say it's a symbol of government surveillance and used for immigration enforcement.
Not everyone believes you right now.
The debate has now moved beyond city meetings. In Winona, police say someone cut down poles and stole all 8 flock cameras. The city's system has been offline since Saturday. Just days earlier, a Faribault man was charged after investigators say he stole a flock camera and tried to destroy it. Court documents say the 42-year-old man told someone that flock cameras track him coming and leaving the city, adding, "I think I might take one." The complaint states he told police that it was lying on the side of the road and he wasn't going to keep it. Over in Columbia Heights, city leaders voted to cancel their flock contract and covered them as the system was removed.
Main fear is that the federal government, federal agents can get to all this data and that we don't know who's using it, that no one's asking for warrants for this information.
And Edina says it's had 4 separate incidents involving flock cameras being damaged.
Sucks for them.
Fox spokesperson said they do not have any contracts with U.S. Immigration and Customs.
I don't care about the U.S. immigration stuff. Because I don't care. I want illegals out. I want illegals deported. I don't care about, like, they have families, they have people that they rely on. Just don't give me your sob story. You had 10, 20, however many years you were in this country to sort out your immigration status. You had plenty of time. And if, it's your fault that you're getting thrown on a boat anytime soon, it's not my problem. I'm sorry to hear that that the what's it called? I was in Detroit Lakes. That one Mexican place was closing, and it's like, well, shit. Maybe they shouldn't have been hiring illegals. You know what I mean? That's like not a great idea. 5 cameras in Fargo's Flock network have the ability to lock onto and track a person using AI. Fargo police say that the setting is turned off. They're sitting down with the captain who oversees them because they want to ask Fargo police, notoriously dirty, scoundrel-ridden squad that they are. Aren't you like the exact type of people that would be using this to like track down girls that you want to ask out or something? We've been hearing reports about police officers doing this. Like they get into the police officer flock camera system and they identify people with facial recognition systems to get women's numbers or to find their addresses. And this is real. This is reality. There's court trials happening about it right now as we speak.
Fargo's flock camera network is made up of 26 cameras. The vast majority of them, 21 in fact, are these fixed automatic license plate readers. The other 5 look like this. These are called pan tilt zoom or PTZ cameras. Now,
I see these ones everywhere. Every single time I see it, I rip a fat one from the vape. You have to.
Fixed cameras, these ones can move, and with a feature called Guardian Mode turned on, they can lock onto and follow a moving object, even somebody walking down the street.
Our PTZ cameras do have the ability to identify through AI like vehicles and pedestrians. So if you have the setting for pedestrians and a pedestrian starts walking by that camera, the camera will lock on that pedestrian for a certain period of time and then it'll go back to that home position.
Fargo police say that setting for these 5 cameras is turned off. The
turned
cameras
off.
Are instead monitored and controlled manually through the real-time crime center.
Isn't it crazy they have these things, but they still can't manage to catch any of the killers downtown? Downtown in Fargo, there's it's an unrealistic, to the human mind how bad the clearance rate is at Fargo PD. Flip a coin in this city and murder somebody. If it lands on heads, you're gonna walk away a free man. If it lands on tails, well, sorry, it was unlucky, but like it's 50-50 in this city. You can be a serial killer. You can talk about it on social media every single day. And they'll do nothing. They will do nothing. They won't launch investigations. There's people that were like, they'll kill each other for social media cred and whatnot. Like, unfortunately, that's what a lot of the Somali people are doing in Minneapolis. It's not just Somalis, but, it's Somali gangs that have been notable on social media for, like, killing each other for clout, posting about it on social media and whatnot, much like the Minneapolis police. They don't plan to do anything about it. Fargo is notorious for how ineffective it is.
Any footage collected is stored for 30 days, then permanently deleted.
They're monitored through the real-time crime center, so if we needed to move them for some reason, that would be done manually. They're not automatically picking people up or picking vehicles up downtown.
Despite those measures, not everyone in Fargo is satisfied. The department's use of the flock system has raised concerns from people right here in Fargo, some bringing those concerns directly to the city commission.
Fargoans do not want or need flock cameras, and we should be getting rid of them.
Agreed.
We want to be aware of what the concerns are so that we can try to address those as best we can. That public trust is very important to us.
When it comes to these
the public trust is important to you. Why don't you stop acting like a bunch of fucking pig scumbags? That's exactly what the Fargo PD is so far.
Commercial cameras, Fargo police say transparency is the answer.
Really?
So we have our policy in place. That's why we do our monthly audits to make sure that our system is being used appropriately by our officers.
Whether that's enough is a question some residents are still asking. Reporting in
Fargo. Shh. Enough, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, if you live in the United States, it's going to become usual to see, you're going to see people climbing poles, and it's just going to be, well, there's another deflocker, there's another person just doing it. It's sort of like it's a hippie movement that is, in my view, I like it a little bit more. Like, I oddly enough, I'm a person where I'm like, I don't love the idea of a military draft and whatnot. But I do hate hippies. I really, like, there's something really deep in the old man structure of my brain where I just hate watching young people sitting on the grass on a blanket and, like, enjoying themselves. I hate that sort of a movement. I like hippies like the Unabomber. I like hippies like the people who went to Harvard, the people who got MK Ultra mind controlled, it failed on them, and then they realized what the government, what time and society is all about, and then they went on to do, like, crazy, like, they put, like, sugar in gas tanks of big bulldozers for a park they don't want destroyed or some shit. Like, these people really make moves they make action, they actually perform and do things. I'm not in favor of anyone delivering harm, which I don't believe the deflocker individuals are doing. I don't believe they're causing harm to anybody. They're causing harm to the city budget, and whether or not the city wants to continue to spend all of the people's money on flock cameras is up to them. It's probably not going to make them look very popular, but I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, you tell me what you think about these flock cameras. I think they're real cool. And I like the idea of Big Brother being this sort of like, it's a little bit aestheticized, you know what I mean? I thought that Skynet was too choppy. I think that Flock is so much, Flock and Palantir, ooh, it sounds like a Lord of the Rings thing, you know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Cigfluencers. I love Cigfluencers. If you haven't heard about this, social media is seeing an unexpected resurgence of traditional tobacco culture. Listen, dubbed Cigfluencers, they are glamorizing the cigarette smoking across the popular digital platforms. Trend analysts, health officials report that depictions of smoking on social media, TV, and pop culture have surged, with creators posting stylized aesthetic photos and videos featuring lit cigarettes as fashion accessories. The trend represents a sharp departure from the years of declining youth smoking rates and multi-platform anti-tobacco messaging. Medical professionals and public health advocates are raising strong alarms over the online movement, pointing to extensive clinical data linking the social media exposure to increased rates of smoking among teens and young adults. Doctors warn that framing traditional cigarettes as vintage or edgy accessories minimizes severe long-term health risks, including, but not limited to, cardiovascular disease, lung damage. I can go further, but we've all heard the tales and the stories, and we've all watched family members like literally decay and die of cigarettes. So, I don't need to give anybody the talking to. Health organizations stress that younger audiences are particularly susceptible to online social media proof, making passive exposure to smoking imagery a concern for preventative care. Many of these people are going, the more that we're sticking these cool smoking people in front of the kids, the more it's making them want to smoke. I'll admit this. I tried cigarettes for a brief time. I occasionally still will have one every now and then. We're talking maybe like a once a year type of situation at this point. And when you keep it casual with cigarettes, when you're like a once a monther, when you're like a once every time I'm out there hanging out with friends or family, a person, like, your stepdad hands you a cigarette, so you decide to have one there. It's like, okay, this is nice, because I haven't had one in months. Ooh, when you haven't had a cigarette in a while and you just get that nice little crackly feeling in your ears and that nice cool menthol feel. I'm going to be honest with you. There is nothing better than, I have to eat first. If I do it on an empty stomach, or if I eat too much, then I will get sick. I'm one of those people where I get sick really easily, unfortunately. But that's exactly why I cannot go past 9 milligram mouth pouches. I have done hundreds, I've done thousands of milligrams of Delta 8, Delta 9, all those fake THCs, THCA and shit. And I still, to this day, I'm like, I can't go above a 9 milligram mouthpiece. Like, those things where upper deck or a lower deck. I'm a lower deck person. I don't like upper deck because it spreads it too evenly, uniformly throughout my mouth. I like it lower decky because then I like my saliva then. I can move the flavor wherever I'd like in my mouth at that point. I prefer it minty. I don't like any sort of people do a coffee to menthol to taste, and I'm like, ugh, that's disgusting. I just want, or I think there was this one time where I saw a vanilla type of a thing. There's some people who just do pure tobacco, and I'm like, I'm good. I need that mentholy taste, and that's exactly what I like from cigarettes. There's some cigarettes, they try to do more of a licorice taste, and I'm just like, that's not for me. I like a nice cool menthol, because that pairs well with any sort of alcohol that you might be drinking. And I only smoke when I'm drinking. That's the only time that you can ever pair it, because the upswing effect that you can get from a night of drinking, because some people don't like to drink, but if you're in a doldrum, if you are man, I've had maybe one too many beers, I've had one too many, maybe a whiskey, an old fashioned or something, and you feel like you're losing your energy. Oh my God, if you light up a cigarette, you get that, you get it, like, I know I smoke it like halfway down, then I take a break, and then I come back to it, and that's because if I do a whole cigarette at once, then I'm for sure probably gonna get sick. I'm a pussy with it a little bit, I have to admit, but there was times in my life where if I've gotten into a swing, I've chain smoked and whatnot. I've done like one cigarette, and then I've done another in a set. Like, I remember one time I was around a campfire, I'm not gonna reveal who it was, but me and him, we just had these nice Marlboro Golds, and it was just like, I can't even remember how old I was, but it was just one after the other, and I was just like, we were talking, and when you get into conversation, smoking, there's nothing better, because it does advance, it helps you, at least for some people, it helps them think quicker, it helps, and I've heard completely different, by the way, people who have ADHD, or they have other mental things about them, where their mind, it just works in different ways. Some people say that a cigarette, it doesn't dial them in for conversation the way that it does for me, or it doesn't make them feel sharp. It makes them feel, a different sort of way. That's perfectly fine. Every brain is meant to work differently. But when I just like have a cigarette, and it's kind of like it's with the flow. You start talking with your hands a little bit more, and that was just like, that is one of my most cherished memories, is like looking back on the idea that, I'm not one of these people where I'm not smoking like weekly. I'm not smoking monthly. I'm not smoking as often as a lot of other people are, and I still was able to appreciate what cigarettes are. Because cigarettes, you should appreciate the tobacco feel for the tobacco feel. Once cigarettes have become more so about feeling normal, once cigarettes have become about feeling that not shaky feeling in the morning, that's when you know that it's like, well, what is nicotine even about anymore? Because nicotine, it was originally supposed to be this thing where it would make me, my ordinary space felt fine. It was just ordinary, but like now my ordinary is like, if I haven't had a cigarette in a while, I'm a little bit like my muscles kind of hurt, and I gotta like massage, and I gotta like my joints feel cricky. I just need a cigarette real quick. That's how you know that it's like, well, the nicotine, it's not even fun anymore. So like, where are we at? You know what? That's when you need to reevaluate. And I know many people who like to smoke to that extent. I'm not a Cigfluencer. I'm a once in a while tobacco user. And even then, I can't overdo it, because then I will get sick. I have to balance it out.
Dua Lipa, Jeremy Allen White, Charlie...
The guy from The Bear? Wait, that guy? The one who looks like Gene Wilder?
Dua Lipa, Jeremy Allen White,
yeah.
Charlie XCX. What do they all have in common? They're holding something called a cigarette. It's been a while since cigs have been in the limelight. Perhaps thanks to all the data showing they're very bad for your health.
Allegedly.
Images of celebrities smoking, spreading because of accounts like Cigfluencers. And despite
I don't know why, by the way, I knew a lot of smokers. They were some of the people that pushed the vaccine the hardest. I'm like, wait a minute, you're not anybody to be telling me what I need to be doing for my health. Excuse you?
Constant drop in use among adults over several decades. The habit, or addiction, is lighting up social media.
Here is a list of cigs that do not count. I'm a Cigfluencer. Me toxic, call me old-fashioned, I don't care. I love to see that cigarettes are coming back in style.
You know what? Okay, I agree, but they have to be the right brands. Okay. Let's get honest about a couple Cig brands. Cig brand review time. Just like a moment. We're going to do Camel. I grew up around Camel quite a bit. I remember that was my first cigarette. My first cigarette was a Camel because my Uncle Bobby smoked Camel cigarettes, and it was a nice blue pack. And I snuck it away when I was maybe I think I was 9 or 10 or something like that. And I went behind his shop and I smoked the cigarette, and I remember just feeling kind of woozy. I was like, ooh, this does not, they talk about how it's like I'm supposed to feel relaxed. I do not feel relaxed. And then I went on to try, what's it called? I went on to try after that. Newport was one of my next ones, because Newport was another big one that a lot of people that around the bars that I loved hanging out at bars when I was a kid, especially because my dad was an alcoholic. So he used to just take me to go hang out with his friends, and I would hang out at the bar. And usually in America that's considered like child abuse, but I loved it. I loved every second of it. I would relive it if I could. But I remember Newports were around me quite a bit as a kid. Misty Slims, holy shit. Okay, I never fell in love with a cigarette brand until I tried Misty Slims. These were if you don't know, Misty is a brand of cigarette. It's the long type of cigarette, very thin, very feminine cigarettes. And I love Misty Slims. I fell in love with them because after I stole one from my grandmother, and it was the exact relaxed kind of like, ooh, I'm on a new wave of thinking feeling that I had been promised from cigarettes. So that's when I fell in love with Misty Slims. Marlboro menthol, cool menthol flavor blues. And I don't care if anybody judges me. Menthol blues. I'm not a black label. I'm not a gold. I am not a red label Marlboro. I am a blue. I love Marlboro light blues. I don't care if you tell me that's barely even smoking at that point. I don't give a shit. You're a monkey ape animal if you need Marlboro blacks. Or like if you're past reds and what I can't even talk to you. I can't sit in the same room as you. You're gonna get me sick. It's like, you know, in movies where like the guy, he'd be smoking with a big cigar and then everybody else around him's like turning green. That's me.
We reached out to these content creators and Cigfluencers for interviews and did not hear back.
Damn it.
But it's not just social media. Cigarettes gracing the covers of glossy magazines again. It might remind you of a different era, when Hollywood and the advertising industry, fueled by...
Because why not? You know what I mean? We all miss the old eras. We all miss the kind of nice feeling when your parents or your grandparents used to smoke in front of you, and it's like, damn, I love secondhand. I miss secondhand so much. I miss having an old woman sitting next to me watching Dr. Phil and telling me, like, this is don't ever have kids like that. And I'm like, I'll try.
Tobacco company money. Glamorized cigarettes for decades. Even satired in the movie Thank You for Smoking.
The message Hollywood needs to send out is smoking is cool.
Come to where the flavor is. Come to Marlboro country.
But towards the end of the last century, those ads replaced by these.
We're going to leave this here for you so you can see what 1,200 people actually look like.
The smoking rate for U.S. adults dragged down some 73% since 1965. Thanks to a number of factors. Cigarette commercials banned on broadcast TV starting in the 70s, a major tobacco lawsuit and settlement as a massive public health cost of smoking-related diseases like lung cancer were seen, and new laws against smoking in some public places, all contributing to the decline.
I struggled with depression for years. I thought I needed cigarettes to cope. But then I started losing my teeth.
A long-running ad campaign by the CDC called Tips from Former Smokers and Others Like It, funded by the Big Tobacco Settlement, showed the real-life consequences of smoking: gum disease, throat cancer, surgeries, and voice boxes.
Get used to eating only soft foods.
The CDC estimates...
I remember those commercials. I grew up with the Tips from a Former Smoker ads and whatnot, like the lady with the hole in her neck and shit. And it's disturbing, I'll admit. It made me terrified to smoke cigarettes, but it didn't keep me away from vapes, unfortunately. It didn't keep me away from the weed. It didn't keep me away from all that, because I don't know if they just don't have as many studies on it, and maybe it'll listen to how many times you know what I mean? How many times I have to breathe in between recording this show. I'm like, hopefully none of this shit is going to catch up with me in a few years. And I've definitely been trying to dial back. I'm trying not to do nearly as much of that sort of stuff, but I'm definitely, we don't know where it's all going to go eventually, and we all just have to take the risks. We all, I'm drinking coffee. That's good for heart disease, apparently. That's what we all try to do. We all have little bargains in our head where it's like, well, I did this, so, shouldn't it make up for it, a little bit?
More than 16.4 million people trying to quit smoking, and save some $7 billion in smoking-related healthcare costs over the years.
Well, good.
But while cigarette use declined, vaping and pouches surged. E-cigarette use, up 567% among high school students from 2011 to 2022, according to the American Lung Association.
Yeah, high schoolers, they vape more than me. They're the kids that will do the clouds in their bathrooms and shit, and it's like, wow, that's risky.
Nicotine pouches spiking in popularity, almost quadrupling in the last 4 years. The FDA recently allowing some to be sold with labels saying they're safer than cigarettes.
Getting outside and smoking a cigarette with your friends is better than frying your brain on social media.
As young people are more exposed to nicotine products, they're likely seeing fewer ads against them. Some anti-tobacco initiatives, like TIPS, shut down late last year after the Trump administration's sweeping cuts to the CDC's Office on Smoking and Health, also pausing what anti-smoking groups say is critical funding to state tobacco control programs across the country. We reached out to the White House and the CDC for comment and have not heard back.
I assume
20
not.
mostly blue states are suing to block those cuts and others. In a court filing earlier this year, the Department of Health said many personnel cuts at the FDA have been reversed, but no mention of the CDC office that runs TIPS.
I don't want to vape. I want to go outside in the cold and warm myself up with a cigarette.
It's all breathing new life into an old habit that won't seem to die. Dr. Akshay Sayal, NBC News.
Well, guys, if you're a casual smoker, maybe think about dropping it like a teensy. Even if you can do just one less tomorrow, if one less cigarette means anything to you, give it a shot. The human body, it can recover from quite a bit, especially what you might have been putting it through the last few years. Who knows? Maybe this is a year-long thing. Maybe it's a decades-long thing for you. But, like, there's never a bad time for thinking about maybe taking a little bit of health into consideration. I understand you're probably the last person to die of Parkinson's. Let's be honest with you. Smoking can reduce the risk of it because, you know, that all of your neurons and whatnot, they are nice and protected via that, all of that sort of stuff that, like, it gets around your neurons and it fortifies it. That's at least what nicotine can provide. So let's be honest. You got a few things to thank nicotine for, but, like, you know, I think it's serviced its time for you. And I think maybe it's time to take a little bit more, like, let's be honest, a less selfish point of view into mind. Because, admittedly, cigarette users don't want to say this, but it is a selfish thing to do, ultimately. And a lot of them, they might get upset with me for saying this, but it is a selfish. It's gluttony. It's like those same people who are fat as shit and continue to eat or drink as much as they want, as many calories as they'd like. Unfortunately, they're the most selfish among us. Do you know why? They're like, well, I'm just ruining my own life. I'm only like... You're robbing other people of the opportunity to be with you, to experience you, to appreciate your time on Earth. You are robbing us all of that in the future. Might not be right now. It might even be like, oh, we don't get to hang out with this person as much because they're always going out for cigarette breaks. You know, even when they're hanging out with us, this person's just like running out to the fucking, you know, the garage, running out to the fucking outdoors and whatnot. Like, it's always with these people. And understand, all of those times that you think that you're just, I'm sneaking away and I'm giving everybody a time to just like be without me for a second. In reality, what you're doing is you're robbing us not only of time with you now during the current moment, you're robbing us of years with you. You're robbing us of time with you. We have proven verifiably that this thing is eventually going to lead to your untimely demise. There are other things that we can do to get you that same buzz feeling. You smoke weed in the morning. Smoke it in the morning. Smoke it when you wake up. I'm telling you, swap tobacco. I'm telling you right now, you're better off smoking weed every day than you are smoking tobacco every day. And if it means that it is going to allow you to get away from that demon that is tobacco, go for it. Try it out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to scream at you to do whatever. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but you know if this message is for you. You know it is. And there's audiences out there who know that they shouldn't be smoking as often as they are, and they feel the guilt inside them every day, and they might not admit it to themselves that they do, but they know it's wrong, and they know that they're robbing the people around them, their friends, their family, of the years in the future with them. They know that this gluttonous behavior is all going to catch up with them one day, but they've yes-anded themselves into thinking that it's fine. They've gone ahead and they've said, well, you know, it makes me easier to talk to. I'm the fun. I act fun when I'm on cigs or whatever. It's like, no, actually, you're just kind of like, you're dialed. You're like shaky. You're like itching your skin all the time. You're making weird conversation. It's like cigarettes, maybe being without them would actually make you a more dialed in and like with it person. Like, that's unfortunately a lot of people, they continue to smoke because they think that's what makes them dialed and with it. That's not in reality whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, Ariana Grande. We're gonna do a little bit of the rapid fire section of today's headlines because Ariana Grande, with others like Jelly Roll, they're all stepping back. They're all like, leaving this world of like haters online behind or whatever. Her representative has confirmed to ABC News that part of this is involved with some of the online public scrutiny people are giving her relating to her anorexia.
This morning, pop star Ariana Grande announcing she's taking a step back from the spotlight following concerns over her health and appearance after the release of her new album, Pedal.
Who cares?
A representative for the singer telling ABC News she'll be taking a break after her Eternal Sunshine tour wraps in London September 1st. Writing, she looks forward to finishing the tour and ending it on a high note, both healthily and happily, and then taking a much-deserved break from public-facing work and appearances, which has led to endless ongoing public scrutiny. The years-long scrutiny of the three-time Grammy-winning artist intensifying after the release of that music video from her album, which debuted just last week.
I can see her collarbone, and I can see, like, all of it, in the sense where if you are skinnier, or if you don't have nearly as much fat on you. By the way, I'm a person where I body shame you regardless. If you're a fat piece of shit, and you're being gluttonous, and you need to cut it out, and you need to watch it on your calories, you're a fat piece of shit. You need to watch it on your calories, and you need to lose some weight. If you are skeletal, if you are to the point where, you know, there's some serious concern about whether or not you can move right, then that's another person who needs to be body shamed. That's another person who needs to be told, you know, eat something. Regrettably, eat something. We can see your ribs. We can see them. And it's a lot of people, they'll over-exaggerate. The fat fucks will call you overly skinny if you're average, and the skinny fucks will call you fat if you're average. If you are average, in the middle somewhere, if you are, like, you know, an ordinary person, it's tough because, like, watching people be fat and watching people be overly skinny, it's tough because it's like it's their disease. You know what I mean? It's up to them to fix. I hate this music. It's awful. God,
Fans expressing concern across social media. Grande has long defended herself against criticism of her looks.
She looks like she has done Ozempic.
2023, addressing comments she appeared unhealthy and too skinny compared to old photos in a post made on TikTok.
I think we should be gentler and less comfortable commenting on people's bodies.
Why?
At the time, while filming Wicked Part 1, Grande told fans that the body they'd been comparing her to was the unhealthiest version of herself.
I was on a lot of antidepressants and drinking on them and eating poorly, and at the lowest points of my life when I looked the way you consider my healthy.
Then in 2024, Grande going on to hit back on comments about her appearance in her hit song, Yes and?
What?
A source close to the singer, adding she performs a very physical show, and there's a lot of athleticism involved. She performs healthily and successfully at a very high level, night after night.
Well, good for her.
Also postponing her next project, appearing on the London stage with her Wicked co-star Jonathan Big.
Yeah, I'm a person, I go, you know, if Eugenia Cooney dies tomorrow, I'll say it's a tragedy. I don't care. I don't care to any extent, and you can't get me to care. You can't get me to care because when somebody either eats themselves or you know, starves themselves into whatever position they're in, it was a failure of themselves. It was a failure. Not like it's not up to us. We're not as the community. You know, we're not literally the world. We are the world, and we're not like not in a gay sense where it's like we are the world. We are the children. Like what are you supposed to do? You're not Ariana Grande's mother, brother, or sister. How are we supposed to fix them? Like there's nothing we can do except for once you've offered the opinion, it's out there, and she can be like, yeah, but like you shouldn't say that. Yeah, but like you shouldn't comment on my body. Okay then, die. Like you can, if you are really that healthy, you will not die. And if you are unhealthy, you will die. And that's, what else do you want me to do? I've made my comment, I've made my piece. Later, Ariana Grande. Ladies and gentlemen, the Eugenia Cooney of our generation, the pop star Eugenia Cooney, what I believe Eugenia Cooney was always trying to be. I don't care about like, oh, you shouldn't make fun of people during their eating disorder. They shouldn't be killing themselves online in front of us for everybody to view if they don't want public comment on it. Ladies and gentlemen, Jelly Roll, what is he doing again, this fat fuck?
Country music star Jelly Roll says he is stepping back. He told fans at a recent concert in Salt Lake City that he is going to take a break from touring for about a year or two. Last month, the Grammy winner finalized his divorce from Bunny XO after nearly 10 years of marriage. While both Jelly and Bunny say they remain on good terms, media outlets have reported the two have unfollowed each other on social media.
Who cares? Who actually cares? There's 24 arrested right now in an undercover child predator operation. Why does any of this matter, ladies and gentlemen? Let's talk about this one.
This undercover operation to catch child predators. The Blaine Police Department says in just 48 hours, nearly 400 adults replied to an online advertisement with 24 men offering to pay for sexual conduct with a minor.
Typical Blaine, Minnesota type type shit.
Morgan Wolf, here's an update from police. I spoke to their chief today that says this is something that they try to do routinely to make preventative measures. Some of these men arrested are repeat offenders. One of them even was caught with possession of child abuse materials.
Wow.
Chief Badani said that it is really alarming to think about the access that predators have to children now. It's no longer just reaching out on social media. They now have access to children through gaming apps. She says they're doing what they can to try and prevent these things from happening. But if you are a parent and you are watching this, he says it is never too early to talk about online safety with your children. Do it a lot earlier than you think is actually what he told me. I'm Morgan Wolf. Follow for more news.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, 24 people replied to this. That means that there is out of 400 or so that were able to, 24 being arrested, 400 or so that replied. That still means that a lot of these men are still out there. Men, I guess we could assume that there are a few women. Let's be honest, it's mostly men that are doing this shit. I'm just being honest, and I know that people are going to be like, you're being sexist or whatever. Men are the ones abusing children. What do you want me to say? That's what it is. Men are the ones who are sexually abusing children. I don't know what else. I don't know what other way to put it. It's what the statistics show. It's verifiable. It's factual. Women are the ones who are like, maybe they're teachers and they're sexually abusing, but otherwise, women are staying to people who are their own age. You know what? Let's just be real, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, it's unfortunate. It's terrible, but this still means that a lot of these men are out there and they're like going to work every single day. They're just being themselves. Don't talk when I'm talking. In fact, I'm skipping your story because it's not even that interesting. CBC News about the Shopify CEO allegedly backing the idea where if you have more money, that means you should be able to vote more. Okay, fine. That's like typical rich guy opinion shit. I don't care. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care so much. I think that actually we should go ahead and move on to our final story of the day. I'm not angry, but I want to get into it. I want to just talk about it because then I'll be able to let you go, do whatever it is you got to do, and we'll be able to restart tomorrow. Like today has been a lot. It's been ridiculous. It's been chaotic. It's been unmeasured, and I'm very I feel disorganized, and that's fine. Some episodes are going to be like that because we can't prevent ourselves from being that some days, and that's just what it is today, ladies and gentlemen. Tuesday, April. Why did I almost say April? Because it has an A at the beginning. That's fucking stupid. August 4th, 2026, ladies and gentlemen. Our final story of the day: Minnesota GOP. They are concerned over the governor candidate Mike Lindell's residency status. If you have not heard about this. The Republican Party of Minnesota has formally asked state election officials to clarify constitutional residency requirements for gubernatorial candidates. It's raising official concerns regarding the eligibility of the Republican primary contender, the MyPillow CEO, Mike Lindell. In a letter sent to the Minnesota, what am I doing? Minnesota Secretary of State's office, party leadership requested formal guidance on whether Lindell meets the state requirements that candidates reside in Minnesota for at least 1 full year preceding a general election. The inquiry stems from a recent court documents that are and public records also identifying Lindell as a registered voter and resident in Texas as recently as last year. Party officials cited legal filings in Minnesota and Colorado where Lindell was identified as a Texas citizen, raising questions about whether his recent return to the state satisfies the constitutional timeline. State GOP leaders stressed that while the party takes no formal stance on his eligibility, voters need clear answers before casting ballots. Lindell, who received the endorsement of President Donald Trump, has dismissed the concerns. He's stating that he reestablished his Minnesota residency in time to qualify under state law. He maintains that he fully satisfies the criteria to challenge the Democratic nominee in November. Election officials have not yet issued a formal determination, leaving the status of his entire candidacy in the air for right now.
There are new questions tonight about whether the leading Republican candidate for governor has lived here long enough to run for office. With just 8 days until the primary, there are new concerns about the legal Minnesota residency.
Just let him run. It's fun.
Ray Murphy's here with these new concerns tonight.
All right, and they are new concerns, Frank. This is just the latest controversy surrounding the Lindell campaign. This concern is different, though, because it comes directly from Chair Alex Plekish of the Minnesota GOP. In a letter obtained tonight by WCCO, Plekish is asking for, quote, emergency guidance from Secretary of State Steve Simon on what the residency residency requirements are for being eligible to serve as governor. The Lindell campaign believes the state residency requirements begin 1 year before taking office. The new governor will take office in January of 2027. However, in the letter, the party chair, Alex Fleckish, says the Minnesota Constitution says a governor must live in Minnesota for 1 year before the election, and that the GOP office has been getting questions from Republicans about Lindell's status. The primary is August 11th. In recent legal documents quoted in the GOP chair's letter, Lindell claims to be a resident of Texas. The Republican Party is asking the Secretary of State for the exact citation and the correct and current constitutional provision governing the residency qualification for governor and lieutenant governor.
I would love if he runs. I would love if he wins, mostly because he has this kind of American Xi Jinping kind of a vibe. Well, kind of a wide neck, wide face, a very kind of, though, like a friendly bear atmosphere, but he is far from friendly.
The party also wants to know if the 1 year residency period in that provision is measured as of election day or as of the date the office holder takes office. Now, I just spoke with Mike Lindell, whose poll numbers have been rising since he was endorsed by President Trump last month.
It's a lie. It's a hit job. He wants his darling Lisa Damon. That's who he wants, who they had handpicked by Alex.
All right. Mike, thousands of people have already voted. Can you assure them that your residency is meeting all the guidelines to be elected governor of Minnesota?
100%. That's why I sent in everything to, this has been gone over by our own GOP. This has been gone over by attorneys. I moved here and you got the pay stubs.
Now, Lindell did send me pay stubs that he says shows he paid Minnesota state taxes in August of 2025. I was not able to independently verify those tonight. Now, the GOP wants the Secretary of State to clear this up now because the party is concerned that Democrats could file a similar residency claim against Lindell if he were to win the primary, which is in just 8 days, or the general election. We also have reached out to Secretary of State Steve Simon's office and have not heard back. Now, this is another potential problem here. This Mike Lindell Instagram post shows him and his supporters throwing pillows to a parade crowd in Foley, Minnesota. That prompted a complaint from a Democratic candidate. The complaint says the giveaway violates Minnesota campaign law because the gifts cost more than $5. At a hearing today, Lindell admitted to passing out pillows, but says they fall under the limit allowed for campaign giveaways. The judge is expected to issue a ruling in the next few days. Lindell is the GOP frontrunner heading into next week's primary. He's facing Minnesota House Speaker Lisa Damon and Republican-endorsed candidate Kendall Qualls.
I'm not in favor of Qualls. I'm not in favor of Dameth because I had faith in her for a second, and then she disappointed me. I was like, we can have a nice GOP Kamala Harris type thing. She disappointed me greatly when she didn't even bother to show up to the governor's debate, and I'm like, well, okay, now you have this guy, Kendall Qualls, who's a black guy named Kendall. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It just kind of threw me for a loop the first time that I figured out that he was of color. You hear the name Kendall, you don't assume that. That's like hearing of a black guy named Tanner. It just doesn't seem right. Or a black guy named Skyler, a black guy named Peyton. That just doesn't sound right. Ladies and gentlemen, I've had enough fun for today. I hope that you have as well. I had a wonderful time gathering these stories for you. I hope you had an even more wonderful time listening to them. We will be back at it again tomorrow with our latest broadcast. If you'd like to be there for it, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, blah, 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 like if you liked it. In the meantime, I have been Ollie Vogt Larson with your Brain on Air. Thank you all so very much for listening. I will catch you in the next broadcast. In the meantime, bye-bye.